Good morning, guys. So welcome to CozWeek. This is a readathon that the lovely Courtagonist is hosting for the week of her birthday, or at least I'm considering it her birthday, even though I believe her birthday ends on the last day. But regardless, this is a readathon dedicated to cozy mysteries, which you all know I love. And even though you technically don't have to read cozy mysteries, I feel like the focus is on cozy mysteries, which is right up my alley. And Court actually was even nice enough to create like this bingo type spreadsheet, which makes it super fun to just cross off as many as possible. So starting off this vlog, as I do most of my vlogs, with some coffee. And I guess I should just kind of dive right in and tell you guys what I plan to read, or at least what I'm reading now, since you know I'm a mood reader and I don't necessarily like planning for my books to happen. They just kind of happen as they do. So, first book, I have Scene of the Climb by Kate Dyer Seeley. This is also the pen name for Ellie Alexander, who you guys know I absolutely adore, but this has been on my TBR for a while, and it just perfectly lined up that it came just in time for the beginning of this readathon. So just to give you guys a quick synopsis of what it is about, our main sleuth or amateur detective is a recent journalism grad who can't find a job to save her life, which, side note, I can totally relate to because I graduated with a journalism degree and it was really hard for me to find a job at first. But anyway, so she ends up getting a job offer to work at this adventure magazine. However, she got the job because she fudged on her resume just a little bit, but you know, been there, done that. And she's not at all really the outdoorsy type, but she goes ahead and takes the job anyway. So on her first assignment, she sees somebody thrown off of a cliff, and naturally she feels compelled to investigate, not only because, you know, she sees it happen, but you know, she wants to have her investigative skills put to the test. So anyway, I'm really excited to start this one. I will probably also simultaneously listen to an audiobook, though I haven't really decided which one yet. I've got a couple in my queue that I am going to choose from, but I'll check in with you guys later to let you know which of those I decide on and how far I get along in this one. Okay, so talk about serendipity, because I totally forgot that I ordered these books, and Ringo is drinking loudly. Do you mind? I totally forgot that I ordered these books. I love Bookmail, but this one is even better. Talk about serendipity, because as soon as I got the package, I had to look on my Amazon to remember what they were, and they are cozy mysteries. So figured I'd do a little bit of an unboxing. So let's see, shall we? Okay, so obviously I already took the tape off, but ta-da! All right, 2 books, 2 cozies. First we have A Batter of Life and Death by Ellie Alexander. This is book 2, I believe, in her Big Shot Mysteries. I figured I would just actually start from the beginning since I just finished the very first one. I'm going back to where it all started. Anyway, and this one takes place in fall, so I'm probably gonna wait a month or so to start it, just because I like to read my cozies in like the theme of the seasons, but we'll see. And then the other one is To Helvetica and Back, which double whammy because I love a good typeface I guess theme, graphic design type theme, and then also I love books with a good pun. So this one, let me see if I can remember, is a woman who works restoring old typewriters and books, which, I mean, hello, yes please. So those are 2 additional cozies to go on my shelf. Now, again, I'm a mood reader, and depending on how quickly I finish Scene of the Climb, which is what I'm currently reading, I may or may not dive into at least this one. For sure, not A Matter of Life and Death, just because, again, I'm trying to hold out till fall to read it, just so I can get those autumn vibes. But To Helvetica and Back definitely is one that has been on my TBR for a while. I think, or rather, I probably saw it on Instagram with someone who I followed. I don't remember who. I get my books, my like TBR list from everywhere. But regardless, these are some new books. I'm gonna put them on my shelf. And I guess update you guys on where I'm at in my book. So I've been reading Scene of the Climb, just like I thought. I'm loving it so far. I haven't gotten too far, so I'm right at the point to where she gets the job, or is about to get the job at the Adventure magazine, and so she ends up, well, first we're getting our scene set. This takes place in Oregon, and so, does it take place in Oregon? Yes, final answer. Anyway, so we're getting all of our like Pacific Northwestern scenery and descriptions, which again, I love. And she's having like a wildly bad day with like getting caught in the rain and getting her coffee spilled on her. And so she meets this guy, this like older guy, but not too old. She thinks he's attractive. This is how the book is described. I'm not taking any liberties or anything. But she thinks the guy is attractive, but he ends up like wanting to sit down and have coffee with her and propositions her for the job. And so she quickly goes from like thinking it was kind of a coffee date to switching into work mode. And so that's when she decides to kind of like fudge her resume a little. But we also learned that her dad was this really famous investigative reporter. And so she doesn't necessarily want to rest on his laurels, but at the same time, the guy who's interviewing her kind of puts 2 and 2 together, and she's just trying to jump at the opportunity because again, she hasn't had a job. She's been living on her friend's couch, and it's time for her to get on her own 2 feet. So that's where we are in the story. Again, I'm really enjoying it so far. Obviously, no mystery has happened yet, but as soon as one does, I'll let you guys know. Happy birthday, America. That was really lame. I'm probably gonna cut that out. Let's try this again. Good morning, guys. Can you see me sweating? Okay, let's start over. Good morning, guys, and happy 4th of July. I did not vlog yesterday, but that's okay. Still getting some reading done, blah, blah, blah. Let's fast forward to today, and it is 4th of July, which means naturally I am off. It is Saturday. It is a glorious day, and let's talk about some books. Okay, switching hands. Hopefully you can't see me sweating because it's hot outside, but anyway, I told you guys earlier that I was probably going to also simultaneously listen to an audiobook, and I found one. It is called Calico Confusion, and it's really, really cute so far. Actually, I am both listening to it and reading it on Kindle Unlimited simultaneously, so I can check that KU box off of the bingo square. But this one is about a woman named Majorie who runs a kitten cafe, which I think is super adorable. If you don't know what a kitten cafe is, it's exactly what it sounds like, where it is a cafe and you can get your treats and your coffee and all that, but there are also kittens there who you can play with and adopt potentially. So Anyway, on to the story. So this is the first story, or rather the first book in the series, and it is about, like I said, Marjorie, who, one of her longtime friends, or her friends who she knew a while ago, who ends up being a police detective, brings her a kitten one day and says that the kitten was actually owned by this woman who was murdered, and this woman, because they live in a small town, live kind of down the street from Marjorie's cafe. And so Marjorie just can't help but try and do a little bit of sleuthing, some investigating on her own. I actually don't mind that. I will say, sometimes there are cozy mysteries where the character is a little bit too much of a nosy Nelly, and it's not necessarily as plausible the way that they inject themselves into the investigation. That's not the case with this one at all. And then on top of that, we've got a whole bunch of adorable kitten imagery. Now, I know that there are a lot of cozies out there that feature kittens or animals in general, and surprisingly, I haven't actually read that many featuring cats. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a dog person, but that's not going to stop me from reading about cats or any kind of animals in my stories. It just so happens that this time around, I picked up one that's featuring kittens, which I think is so adorable, so much and so that I actually really want a tabby right now, but I know my husband is not going to allow us to get a cat because we already have 2 dogs. But anyway, like I said, I am listening to that one, and I want to say I'm only a few chapters in. It's fairly short, and compared to other cozies, so I imagine I will get through it pretty quickly, but I'll give you guys an update on that one later. And I am going to finish watering my plants and get back inside because it is hot outside, and I gotta figure out what kind of like festive things I'm gonna do for the 4th. Kind of limited because of, you know, everything that's going on in the world, but maybe I'll see some fireworks or something later on this evening, so I don't know, we'll see. Hey guys, so I don't know why I started it like that, probably because I'm used to starting my videos that way. But anyway, it is the afternoon time on Sunday. I'm reaching for my book. And let's talk a little bit about this. So I guess just to pick up where I left off last time I was chatting with you guys, we had 4th of July fireworks, and you know what? It went off without a bang. Well, there were bangs, but what I mean is my dogs didn't freak out. And any of you who have dogs, you know how much of a big deal this is, because usually with like fireworks and loud bangs, dogs tend to go off the walls, and my dogs are no exceptions. I've got a tiny little one and a really big one, and if one starts, the other starts, and it just becomes this whole mess. And last year and every other year now that I think about it, 4th of July and fireworks in general have been just like the bane of my existence because they're always barking and I feel so bad. And depending on like how long they go, it's a long night with them like constantly barking. But for some reason, this year they were so much better, which I'm so happy for. However, I was able to snap a pic because, as I suspected, I was able to see a couple of fireworks from my balcony, which worked out just perfect because I did my social distancing, and yet I still felt a little festive with some fireworks. Let's talk about my book. So far this morning, I have been doing some more reading. I've been switching back and forth, like I said, between Calico Confusion and Scene of the Climb, but I am loving Scene of the Climb, and I think it's just because it's coming at the perfect time. And what I mean by that is we're in summertime, and usually around summertime, I'm used to doing like more outdoorsy activities. I know growing up when I was a kid, I used to go camping all the time in the summer with my family. And so summertime and camping just go hand in hand, for me at least. And this book is giving me all of my like hiking, outdoorsy adventure vibes that I just can't do this year. And so I'm loving it. As I mentioned, this is written by the same person who does the Bake Shop Mysteries, Ellie Alexander, even though here we're having her pen name, Kate Dyer Seeley. But it's still her writing in the sense of the wonderful descriptions that I have become accustomed to. And by that, I mean we're getting all of the Pacific Northwest descriptions and everything, that means a lot for me because, quick side note, when I went camping, I was in California, Northern California to be exact, and that's where I grew up, and it just, I love it so much. So the part that I'm at now, so basically we have a little bit of a time jump with this because the book starts off with her, our main character, talking about how if she never would have gotten this job, she would have never found herself in the predicament that she's in, where she not only witnesses a murder, but she's like literally hanging on, trying not to fall to her death because obviously she is outdoors. Then we kind of jump back to where it all began, her getting her job, blah, blah, blah. And it's really interesting. I knew this book was set like outdoorsy or whatever, but I didn't really know the specific premise. But now that I do, I'm like even more excited about it. So as far as the specific premise, it's kind of got like an Amazing Race theme going on, which I love because I adore that show. But as I mentioned, she ends up working for an outdoor adventure type magazine, and she has been tasked with covering this story. And the story is that there is this adventure reality show, and the finale, the last leg of the show, is taking place nearby where she lives in the Pacific Northwest. And the way that it is presented itself, it's a huge nod to Amazing Race, whereas you've got like 3 or 4 remaining competitors. They have to do something like outdoorsy to win the grand prize, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, yay, that sounds amazing. That sounds like so much fun. So we are introduced to our cast of characters, which obviously is, in addition to her boss, we've got the remaining contestants, and then we've got the producers, and I can already tell like the way that they have been introduced, each of them has kind of either like motives or secrets or their very specific personality. Like you've got this one competitor guy who's like this diehard hippie Greenpeace kind of guy. Then we've got this fitness expert hardcore woman who is just all about like getting her done and beating everybody and like high competition. And then we've got this third guy who is like, outdoorsy Jersey Shore is really all that I can think of to describe the guy, because he's like a muscly meathead / flirt, but like kind of skeevy with it. Anyway, I absolutely adore it so much, and I'm really looking forward to like diving in even further. I'm not done yet. I don't even think I'm halfway done, because if I'm being honest, I probably am not as far along as I could have been, just because of like things going on with like the festivities and juggling the other book, but that's okay. I am taking my time, savoring this one. Let's talk about like where I am with the bingo though. So let me bring it up really quickly. I'll bring it up on the screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Let's kind of go across. So I haven't read a baking cozy, and to be honest, these 2 books that I'm currently reading, neither of them deal with, well, you know, Okay, so the Cat Cafe takes place at a cafe where they serve baked goods, but technically I'm not really considering that a baking cozy, so I'm not going to check that one off. Reading outside, I have done. In fact, I took an Instagram picture, which I will put up on the screen now, so I checked that off the list. Read a sci-fi cozy. Again, these 2 books that I'm currently reading are not sci-fi, and maybe if I finish them, I might read a sci-fi. I know Court from Courtagonist has like an amazing video out where she talks about the sci-fi cozy subgenre. And don't worry, I've already added those books to my TBR. But if I decide to do that, then I've got those books to go off of. But right now, that's staying blank. Read a new author, check, because the author of the Cozy Cafe book that I'm listening to, she's new to me, so we're going to count that. Free space, obviously we're going to count that because it's a free space. Read a new release. So yeah, that one's still kind of blank because neither of these books are brand new, so they're not new releases. Read with coffee or tea. Also, the previous photo that I put up from Instagram, I took that at my local coffee shop, so naturally I have been reading with coffee or tea, and then also off camera. So definitely, let's actually check that twice or 4 times, because every time I read almost, I've got some coffee or tea in my hand. Read a Kindle Unlimited, also check, because like I said, the The cat book that I'm reading is both on Kindle Unlimited as well as Scribd, and I'm kind of alternating so that I can get some reading done when I'm actually like doing stuff. And then if I get a free moment to myself, I can read the physical, well, the ebook version. And then lastly, read in bed, which, have I done that? I don't think I've done that. So maybe we can count the couch, but if we can't count the couch, then I'll probably get some reading in bed done later on today or tomorrow, sometime before this readathon is over. I'll probably end up using my Kindle just because I've got the Kindle Paperwhite and I like the light functionality of it. It's a little difficult for me to read with a physical book these days just because I end up like dropping it on my face. But anyway, so I've updated you guys on the book and where I'm at with my CozWeek bingo. So that said, I will check in with you guys in just a little bit. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. My groceries were delivered, and so I figured while I was unpacking them, I would give you guys an update about where I'm at with Calico Confusion. So like I said, I have been alternating between the audiobook and the ebook, and I'm really enjoying it. So where we're at now is our main character Marjorie was on a I guess you can call it a date. So anyway, so she was on a date, and then when her and the guy that she was with returned back to her place, she saw that it had been burgled. And so she calls the cops, and because it's a small town, her like cop friend who I mentioned earlier came by to obviously I'm not good with doing two things at one time, but her cop friend came by to help her check it out or whatever, and she didn't notice that anything was missing. So fast forward to the next day, and she is playing with the newest kitten that came in, the one that I told you guys about that belonged to the woman who was murdered. And so Marjorie notices something is wrong with its collar, like it's askew or something. So while she's trying to fix it, a micro USB card slides out, which, I mean, suspicious, right? So she goes to try and figure out what it is, and I won't tell you what's on it, but let's just say it's more than just like the cat's identification. And so Marjorie for sure has her eyes on a particular suspect, but the police are not looking at that suspect. They're looking at somebody else who happens to be Marjorie's friend. And Marjorie is hell-bent on trying to figure out who the real killer is, because she knows for a fact that her friend who was implicated for the murder is not the one who did it. So anyway, it's really good so far. I'm really enjoying it still. We've got like the kittens, which are playing like a cute little role. We've got Marjorie and her cute little shop, and there's also like this side plot where there is another developer who is trying to build something in front of her shop which would block the view. The way that it's being talked about, I feel like that's gonna come around somewhere later down the line, but I don't know. So yeah, like I said, I'm really enjoying it so far. And even though I'm not even done with it yet, if you guys enjoy cozy mysteries that involve kittens, or even like the idea of a cat cafe, which again, I think is super adorable, and I know they have them in places like Japan or whatever, then definitely check this one out. So I'm gonna finish with this grocery pudding upping because I cannot multitask, and I will check in with you guys later. And since I'm not recording anymore, now is a perfect time for me to put my audiobook on and listen so that I can do two things at once, since I can't do two things at once with this. You guys get what I'm saying. You get it. You get it.
You know it's not about our love ending. You know it's not about us. You know it's not about us. You know it's not about us. You know it's not about us.
Been working all day, and so this is the first time that I am able to turn my camera on and get some vlogging done. I did just a little bit of reading this morning before I logged into work, and I had it with my coffee. And so yeah, I'm on my lunch break, so let's talk books, shall we? So switching back and forth. Now let's talk about Scene of the Climb and how much I am still loving it. I don't want to give too much away because, well, it's always weird when I do these kind of vlogs because I don't know how much detail to go into, especially when it comes to mystery, well, not even just mysteries, but just the book in general, because I don't want to give away spoilers and I don't want to give away what I would think are spoilers, which obviously in addition to like the who is the killer part, like plot points that I think are necessary or surprises. So I'm a little torn. So I guess let's just kind of talk, and then if I think something is spoily, I'll pull back. Last time I updated you guys on this book, I was comparing it to The Amazing Race, which I still think is valid. Oh, hold on. My mic. I never put it up. Oops. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so the last time I talked to you guys about this book, I was comparing it to The Amazing Race, which I still think is valid. I absolutely adore that twist on it. And so far, what we're basically doing in terms of the timeline, as I mentioned, it kind of starts off in the very beginning with her in peril, and then it goes back and starts from the actual timeline beginning of how she got the job and how she got to that point. So we're still kind of on that kind of timeline, and I'm really enjoying it. At this point, we are getting a lot more detail about each of the characters. As I mentioned before, we've got in addition to our heroine, we've got basically two sets of characters. We've got the 3 contestants, and then we've got, I want to say, like 2 or 3 producers, like maybe like a producer and the 2 assistants, or something like that. But we're getting more in depth about their kind of characters, and so the way that I'm sure they are doing it, or rather the way that the author is doing it, I'm sure is to kind of lay the groundwork to see who's got the motive and to shine the suspect light on a bunch of different people. I don't necessarily know at this point who falls over, because if I'm being honest, I have been listening to Calico Confusion more than I have been reading this book, just because since that book is a little bit shorter, I feel like the conflict and the action is a little bit faster just because it's having to be done in a shorter span of time. But regardless, I'm still enjoying this one. In fact, obviously, because we are on the last day of CozWeek, I'm not going to be able to finish this before the day is over, but I do plan to keep reading once we are done with CozWeek and I'm done with this vlog, so I'm not at all concerned about that. However, would I recommend it? Yes, I still would recommend it. I'm not even done with it yet, but the way that it is written is so captivating so much, and I know I keep harping on this, but the kind of subtle nod to reality TV, I think, is a great plot to piggyback off on, and that's another reason why I'm loving it. So I'm going to switch it up really quickly, and since we are on the last day of CozWeek, let's take a look on how I did with the bingo. I have a photo of it on my phone. Once again, I will put it on the screen now. So, read a baking cozy. Sadly, I didn't get to do this. Again, Calico Confusion does take place at a cat cafe, but since it's not centered around baking, I'm not really going to count that. Read outside, check, I did do that. I tried to do it a couple of more times, but I'll be honest, you guys, it's 90 degrees here in Atlanta and it's humid as hell, so I don't really last long. Next, read a sci-fi cozy. Unfortunately, because I'm still working on these 2 books, I didn't get a chance to do that. Again, totally okay. Read a new author, check. Free space, obviously, check. Read a new release. Didn't get to do that one either. I think I mentioned the last time I was going through this, both of these books were backlists, and I double checked on the Calico Confusion because I wasn't sure, and yeah, it's not new. Read with a coffee or tea. Quadruple check. I mean, I've got a coffee right here, so that's indication enough. Read a Kindle Unlimited. Again, the Calico Confusion is on KU, so check. And read in bed, which the last time I talked to you guys and I had this little bingo board up, I hadn't done that yet. However, last night I did that. So we can count that as another check. And I guess just to be extra with it, I will probably read in bed again this evening if for some reason I don't finish Calico Cafe via audio later on today. So yeah, I guess that'll about cut it. As far as the rest of the day, because it is CozWeek, not that I need a reason, but because it is CozWeek, I think I am going to lean a little bit more into the coziness factor and put something on from the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel, which is my absolute favorite channel. I got a couple of options actually for those of you who care, or if you don't care, you can skip past this. It's fine. I love talking about Hallmark. So I've got a couple options. I know that they are doing their Christmas in July right about now, which means on Hallmark they have Christmassy type movies. I might do that depending on if I have seen the movie or not. Well, let's be honest, it doesn't really matter if I've seen it or not because I have watched multiple Christmas Hallmark movies multiple times. Or if I want to keep with like the cozy mystery theme, I have a few recordings from the Aurora Tea Garden mysteries movies that the Hallmark Movies and Mystery channel has put out. Say that 5 times fast. And I absolutely adore that series. I think I also have the crossword puzzle mysteries saved, which stars Lacey Chabert. So I might end up watching one of those again, just to kind of lean even more into the cozy mystery headspace for the week, just to like end everything with a bang, since technically both of those series involve amateur sleuths. The Aurora Tea Garden one, she is a librarian, and then the crossword puzzles mystery, she is a crossword puzzles editor. So okay, so I hate to end this vlog in front of my work computer, but we may just have to do that. Only because, I mean, the rest of the day is going to be spent reading as much as I can when I get off work or watching a Hallmark movie. So, yeah, I don't want to fill it with fluff. So let's end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed following along with me during CozWeek, and thank you again to Courtney who hosted this event. I thought it was super fun. Not like I ever need a reason to read cozies, but it's just fun knowing that there's a whole lot of people doing it at once, and I had a really good time looking on Instagram at all of the posts that were tagged with CozWeek because I'll be honest, I got more than a handful of cozy mystery books to add to my TBR, which is super fun, and I'm always loving it. In fact, I may or may not have ordered 1 or 2 of them. I don't know. We will see. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe if you want to see more content like it. I do have other vlogs or weekend vlogs or thematic vlogs if you want to check it out. I will leave a link down below or up here. I never know where to point, up here or in the description box below. But in the meantime, happy reading, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!